What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? And good morning and salutations. And I hope y'all can hear me because I always forget to change my settings. But anyway, welcome to Cosigns and Tangents. Good morning. Trying something new. Trying to get back into the groovy groove. It seems like every time I tried to do something or plan something, had a technical issue when I was trying to speak to Scrappity doo wop today. And then we rescheduled, but I was in deep grips of a depressive state. So he forgot. I was so grateful. You forgot. I was like, I could have cried. I was literally on my couch, not my bed, because I slept on my couch for 4 days. I got out the house like twice. I worked out, but the rest of that week, clutched tight into the warm embrace of my leather couches. I slept so much, did not see much sun, contemplated numerous things, my life's decisions, my choices, and also didn't watch a whole bunch of scary movies for some reason. For some reason, scary movies have been so relaxing to my mental. Like Get Out and this movie called Opus are basically fairy tales for me. They're black fairy tales where we escape with our lives. So that's what I've been up to. I am just coming to you at 7 o'clock in the morning. Yes, I've been watching the Diddy documentary. Have I been enthralled, enraptured in the mess? Yeah, I have. It's interesting. I've been listening to also a couple of takes on the Diddy documentary. Was I coming on to the podcast this morning and starting live? We're doing it live! Y'all know what it is, right? My train of thought just escaped me. But anyway, so did I watch the Diddy documentary? Yes. What did I think about the Diddy documentary? Oh, baby. Learned so much. Also learned that some of the editing was taken in liberties. Thanks to Torre. I love his podcast. But it had me thinking about, this is what I really thought about the podcast. And I'm going to try to go into it. Because if you've been... It's playing in the background. I don't mean no thing. I probably should turn it off and put my copious head. What I thought about it is it makes me think, I'm so awkward. It makes me think about my favorite topic. Ding, ding, ding. It's slavery. It's not my favorite topic because I just believe slavery was the best thing since sliced bread. No, it's awful. But slavery is so deeply rooted and systemic into our country's fabric that we as Black people don't see it either. If I was a psychotherapist, I think if I was a therapist, I'd be a psychotherapist because I think everything stems from something in the past. People are finding out, oh, I need to re-nurture my inner child so I can stop screaming and crying in the middle of the night or something. Because we have to re-parent ourselves. So we're learning so many new things about the mind and how the body keeps its score. Had the book, haven't read it, heard it was a trip, not ready for it. Because I know my body keeps the score because every October, my body just decides to shut down because it's my mom's birthday month, and I have depressive states for months, off and on. Well, I'm not gonna blame it on my mom's birthday, but there's because I'm almost a 40-year-old woman who has trauma that needs to be unpacked. Anyway, so what did I think about the Diddy documentary? I probably shouldn't be recording it early because I just got off a 12+ hour shift and it's extremely exhausting because of things, if you know me, has happened. So working very hard. But anyway, what I thought about the Dear documentary, it makes me think of slavery and also think about his psychology because I fancy myself a little bit of an armchair psychologist, or I don't even want to say that because I don't want to get caught up in no bullshit. But I have a degree, I have 2 degrees, anthropology and psychology. I want to put my accreditations on this bitch. Is the degree old? Yes. Have I been using it? No. Indirectly, yes, but directly, no. So it makes me think about slavery and just the condition of the Black man. It makes me think about patriarchy and as a whole, because somebody theorized, I guess, because I've been listening to other podcasts talk about it. And other podcasts, somebody commented and how they felt that Diddy, spoiler alert, you guys, he's a monster. If you haven't watched the movie, spoiler alert, he's a monster. He's definitely has to be a narcissist. Has to be. Just from what a narcissist is, and maybe I'll put it up there. What a narcissist is, he has to be a narcissist. Maybe some borderline personality disorder, but definitely he has has some issues from the manipulation, the scheming. And you know who he reminds me of? He reminds me of our orange president in chief. All these grand promises, thinks highly of themselves, very charming, has an energy like people talk about our orange supreme with this energy and this charm that I'm just like, where's Sway? I'm like that lady in that meme. You know, I'm trying to find it. Where is it? But apparently he be having people just enthralled in his ideas and these ideas of grandeur, but he never pays his bills. He always leaving people broke. But again, it goes back to slavery because, golly, y'all. It goes back to slavery because of way Black men have been nurtured in the society that only has ever seen them as human. What since when did they ever eradicate that whole 3/5 of the person thing? But we only really been human for like 50 years. Honey, we've only really had not even Black women, men have only had like their real true freedom since we were able to get the right to vote in the 60s. Honey, that's a great grandma ago. Okay, a grandma ago. It's a dad. You know, it's not that far off. So our humanity is still constantly being in question. And so I think what he went through as a child, because apparently I'm getting to a point, y'all. I'm sorry. Somebody stated on Twitter that they believe that Diddy has always maybe been a homosexual man. But in the document, they stated something about how Diddy's mom didn't want Prince. She wanted a prince, not a princess. Y'all know Black folk, we do not like homosexuality. All right. And that's because of slavery, because it was used as, especially for Black men, it was a tool of submission. It was a tool of breaking. And that has to be somewhere deep in the epigenetic DNA memory of this disdain for it. Because Black folks really don't like gay folks. It's just really it's like we finally have something to be classist or superior about that we really hate on homosexuality. But I really think it's because what sexuality or homosexuality has kind of been used as a tool or a weapon and as a predatory tool for supremacy. So again, that leads back to slavery. So I think definitely Diddy is a narcissist from a completely medical credential way, but just from knowing a little bit about the definition of narcissism. And also he's definitely has some PTSD, some trauma. If his mom was as abusive as I think she could have been, because she talked about whooping the hell out this boy to keep him being safe. And it made me think about this I listened to with a Dr. Stacy Patton, who discussed the harm of spanking your kids. And she talked about how, one, whooping your kids is the whitest thing you could do to your children. Talk about it, because going back to slavery, how they used to treat our ancestors, and those behaviors have transferred to us as a generation. But now, thankful, Black people are starting to gentle parent their children. And so what she talked about, I'm going to have to put it in something, what she talked about with Black people or Africans actually saw their children as like tiny gods. They worshiped, they saw the beauty in their children. They saw the love in their children, because when you think about it, you're creating another human from these infinitesimal small, anyway, I'm getting into a science tangent. Anyway. So I think that gentle parenting is where we need to be going. Like, you don't have to give your kids everything, but like, you don't have to treat your kid like property. We were treated as property. Our ancestors were treated as property. And we taught those behaviors on to our children and our parents, and who parent me. I got whoopings, and we joke about it. We laugh about it. We kiki. We compare whooping stories. I still remember the time my dad whooped me. I ain't forgave that man yet. And that nigga is dead. I like dark humor jokes, just in case you didn't know that. Yes, my parents have passed away. But it made me think about, man, like, we are really parenting after what our parents went through, what their parents went through, what their parents went through, because again, slavery did not end that long ago. It was literally 100 years ago, honey. And even then, black codes, Jim Crow, all the shit. All right. God, I'm so tired of talking about this. So it's been over more than 100 years, but it's 100 plus years. It's like two great grandmas. Okay. Anyway, I'm, cosigns and tangents. I just be on it. So I might as well just do what I gotta do. So Diddy, and reason why I'm going into the whole slavery thing, Diddy was beaten and he was an abuser, but they stated that they think he was always gay. And it makes me believe that because just from anyway, sorry, let me stay on the topic. Anyway, so what they believe is Diddy has always been a homosexual. However, because he was possibly beaten by his mother and maybe Boosie, maybe was because let's be real, Boosie did not treat his 14-year-old son well by getting him a lady of the evening. So maybe probably boosted him, got him into having relations a very early age. And that is traumatizing. We don't talk enough about how men are probably have been traumatized more than we really know because society tells them to close off their feelings and that they should always want sex because you're a man. But anyway, that's another tangent for another day. Stay on track, Sam. I told you, I have also been up for 12 plus hours, okay? So anyway, so Diddy talked about how, probably shouldn't be cussing so much if y'all listen to this in the morning. I will make the necessary changes. But anyway, so Diddy was beaten by his mom. And if she did not like his possible homosexuality and tried to beat the gay away, tried to sex it away, tried to pray it away, whatever other lyrics in Solange's songs, try to smoke it away. He has always been a gay man and he beats women because he was also beaten by his mother. And that way, he probably honestly just hates women. But because he's a black man and he has to hold up he might not actually like black women considering the women that he typically chooses, except Kim Porter. Sorry, I've watched this 2 times. I'm going to watch it again. I'm probably going to go to sleep to it. Anyway, so thinks that since he was abused by his mom, he took out a lot of his anger and through these women. And also my theory, because they talked about how he was a habitual, like he stayed chasing men's wives and side chicks. But what if homeboy was actually attracted to the men and used the women as conduits to be as close to a man as possible? I'm just throwing it out there. So he used women as his conduits for his own pleasure. And then also, he talked about one of his friends or his Kurt, he was also essayed by him. And I'm just like, oh my God, like to be holding this pain and trauma and how he passed it on. And if you look at any new documentaries about how people use sex as a weapon and essaying as a weapon, they're doing it in Sudan, they do it in Palestine and Israel, but it's always been used as a weapon, as this predatory weapon of domination. And so I think it also leads into some of these deviant behaviors. So I'm jumping, okay? So you have to follow me. I'm going to post it in the link to the podcast with Stacey Patton. And she talked about how when kids get whoopings, kids get whoopings on the behind. Behind the behind is some of the nerves that are connected to like your pleasure sensors. And so if you're having like blood rushing to those areas and you're finding yourself being aroused by that trauma of getting hurt, then it could lead into these deviant behaviors. And by deviant behaviors, like I know you can be because I'm not yucking anybody's yum or whatever. Like, do whatever you want to do as long as with consenting individuals of age. I think, honestly, I think the age of consent should be like 21. 18, if you still got teen in your age, honey, we need to treat you as a child. 21. Honestly, 25, because then your frontal lobe is actually fused and then you won't make as many impulsive decisions. But we ain't got no time for that. All right, we ready to live life. We gotta get people out here to work in the prison industrial complex. Yes, I went there. Anyway, so what am I talking about? So Diddy is a monster. He's a predator. I think that his behaviors are learned behaviors that he learned from his parents, and his parents learned from their parents. And it's just a vicious cycle of post-traumatic slave syndrome, which to me, I'm like, what is the post-traumatic slave master syndrome? Like, cause like we always talk about Black folks being messed up, but white folks, y'all fucked up too. Like, y'all are fucked up. He learned all this shit. Apparently, what a lot of people are mad didn't talk about in the documentary is that he allegedly, because this is not real, I'm not real. I stole that from Keita because I love Keita Rose. She said, I am actually, he learned a lot of his behaviors from Clive Davis. And if you know anything about Clive Davis, which I don't know much about, only what I hear in some documentaries, that he was a monster too. So P. Diddy, I don't have a lot of empathy for the adult who made these decisions, but I do have a lot of empathy for the child that was abused. Probably, and knowing, y'all, we have to be honest, knowing how secret and silent SA runs in the Black family, because it runs in the white family, it runs in all families, especially colonized families. Colonization, because sex was used as a weapon of war. Anyway, I'm not gonna keep repeating myself, but I will. Again, just knowing where he grew up in, who he was raised by. His dad was killed. He was raised in a violent land atmosphere. And when I was telling you about Stacey Patton on the Therese show, she talked about how like spanking is the whitest thing you could do, because colonization and pre-colonial days, like we didn't treat children like property. We treated them as humans or little gods or our ancestors. And so I talked about how I'm glad that we're gentle parenting our kids, because like I feel like gentle parenting your children, I'm just rambling. Gentle parenting your children is getting your ancestors the opportunity to be loved properly, because our ancestors were beaten, raped, murdered, thrown over boats, honey. Like when you think about the number of enslaved people that were brought over and how many of us died on the way over, like it's a miracle that we're fucking alive, and there's so many of us in this country, even though we treat like shit. I'm on the tangent queen, baby. Basically, I have empathy for P. Diddy as a child. Glad that he is serving time, but he is not serving enough time for everything that he allegedly did. The documentary was compelling. I also understand why people feel some type of way about 50 Cent's involvement in it, because I'm like, yeah, he's the pettiest man ever. But he's also has his demons. Like, are you holding yourself accountable for your demons, 50 Cent? That's my thing, I wonder. Because 50 Cent allegedly got into, like, let's see, 50 Cent, he had some domestic violence as well. Because what's so crazy, because Ja Rule, like if you're a millennial, you know about like Ja Rule since beef. The funniest beef ever, because I really don't know where it came from, but they hate each other. And Ja Rule was like, man, if you do, aren't you a abuser as well? And I was like, oh well, damn. It kind of changes, again, allegedly, it changes your view on why you're really doing this. Are you holding yourself accountable? Are you donating to domestic violence shelters? Are you speaking out against it? And you don't really see nothing about 50 Cent doing anything, because he was accused. Okay, I found it. So March of 2024, Daphne Joy accuses 50 Cent of essaying and physically abusing her. You are no longer my oppressor. So that was only a year ago. I'm like, it's kind of like pot meets kettle 50. Yes, you're making billions of dollars off this deal, but are you really an advocate for women being safe? I wonder what he said about Cassie. Well, he probably didn't say anything because he's in part knew about Diddy's like scandalous behavior. But it makes me just like look at people sideways, because yes, he's petty. The hate is real. Did he do it for altruism? Did he do it for money? Is he a changed person? Is he going to be a better guy? Is he going to stop trolling people all the time? Is he going to leave A. Marie alone? Because him and A. Marie got beef, honey. I can't remember what happened. You have to look it up. But him and A. Marie, he like he was like clowning her. So he wasn't like the nicest man to women. Like Vivica A. Fox talks about how she missed out on a king, but honey, he just discarded you. Like he doesn't even talk about you. I think he had more fun with Chelsea Handler, honey. Like anyway, tangent queen. But yeah, the documentary was interesting. Like I honestly had this theory years ago that Diddy allegedly had something to do with Tupac and Biggie's death because I like crime shows and they always talk about you gotta find the person who could had the most to gain. And I'm like, Diddy had the most to gain because I knew that Biggie was trying to leave. And art that when the artist dies, their shit just skyrockets. So he was at the point going to lose one of his biggest money, his biggest cash cows. And because he probably would have gone, what if he would have gone to death row, honey? And if he would have gone on death row because Suge Knight paid his people according to the documentary. So Suge Knight paid his people. Diddy wasn't paying his people because he still owed that poor baby who did his Love album that came out money. I don't even think they say he was gonna get like in the documentary $30,000, and he still ain't even got that. That motherfucker probably had $30,000 in his Johnson Johnson boxes, honey. But anyway, so the point I'm trying to make. So I do think, anyway, thinking about who had the most to gain. And so when an artist dies, their art quadruples in value. And if Biggie would have left, he would have lost all that money. Because maybe Biggie was going to take all his masters or whatever. But still, like, and he had the perfect, like, to go on it because this West Coast beef. Like, it's crazy. Like, I wish I could tell teenage me, like, because we were, as a kid, we were just so, when our celebrities started dying. And when you think about, like, that man died at, like, 24. And he lived like a grown man. You feel like he was about 45. He was 24. I've outlived Biggie and Tupac. Like, that's crazy. But yeah, documentary was cool. Slavery is terrible. It's the root of all evil. It's the reason why we suck right now as a country because we have not handled that. We have not handled the sins of our past. We still have people arguing if slavery was as bad as it really was. Yes, it was. It was awful. It was terrible. Why are we still questioning that? Like, slavery is nothing to joke at. My dude, it's a terrible thing. And working, yes, the system is built off our slave system. If you read the 1619 or read y'all, and niggas don't want to read, but you don't even have to read it. You can listen to the audiobook. You can listen to the podcast. You can watch it on fucking Hulu. Slavery is terrible. And it also made this country one of the richest mother companies, I'm gonna say, keep it where it is, companies in the world. Anyway, Diddy's a monster. I feel sad for his inner child, his little kid self, but the adult made these decisions. I never thought he was cute, but I didn't realize how beady-eyed that motherfucker is. And side note, I love listening to like the audio, the TV narrations. And so the way that they narrate, like for the blind, they describe this man as a square-headed they described Diddy as a square-headed, sunken-eyed. I was like, damn. Like, if somebody had no idea what Diddy looked like, they probably think that man looked crazy. And he was kind of cute when he was younger, but then he definitely, all that evil, honey, that evil turned him into a monster. He looks crazy. He looks just insane. He looks insane. Maybe I'll start doing morning episodes just to get me back into it. I am wanting to go fearlessly and faithfully into my 40s in 38 days. That's crazy. I'm gonna be a different decade of my life. And I am wanting to feel better. Like 30 has been the hardest decade so far of my life. I've lost my mom and dad. I lost my best friend. She passed. I lost a job that I felt was very connected and tied to my identity, just to wind back up into the same industry doing way better than I ever did. I've learned so much. I've been blessed with so much and so much understanding and discernment and just understanding, but also knowing that I'm still very naive in certain things. Like management has been very difficult, especially managing other motherfuckers when you are a codependent ass woman, honey. When boundaries are just very new. When people pleasing is still something I am struggling with. But I am doing the best I can with what I got because we are in a fascist state right now. There's a there's actively about 15 G-sides going on, and I still have to work every day. And I'm hoping, I'm hoping, universe, that thing that is hurling towards us is actually an alien spacecraft that could just, let's speed this up, honey. Let's get to traveling into space for real, because maybe my future lover is from Station B out there 500 light years away, and I could have some weird looking kids, honey. I don't know. Or live forever. I don't know. Let it be something, but it's probably not. We're probably gonna have to continuing through the mundanity of life, as Michelle Obama talked about. She said most of life is mundane, and God, it is. Like, when you're single, when you thought, like, I'm getting off into another tangent, y'all. But when I was 30s has been the year of mourning for me. What happened? 30s have been the years of mourning for me. Like, I've mourned my parents, my best friends. I've mourned friendships that have died. I've mourned futures. I love it. I've mourned the future that I thought I was going to have. I thought I was going to have at least 2 kids by now, with a husband, with a significant other. I've mourned so many possible lives of myself. So I need to see what's finna pop, honey. It gotta be more than this. So this is my step forward. I have a great talking voice. Thank you. I'm funny. I'm kind. I'm smart. I is important. And hell, everybody else got a mic, so why the fuck not? So, thank you for listening to my diatribe. I will try to be a little bit more coherent. I can't make no fucking promises. You like me for me. We'll see what happens. Life will go on. I really hope these aliens come through it. I really hope they're not War of the World aliens. I hope they're like aliens. Cause in Star Trek, like, they see us kind of spiraling to a terrible end, so they need to intervene. Like, please let that be it. Please let that be it. Cause y'all need to intervene. We have so many genocides going on right now. It's crazy. Anyway. Thank you for listening to Cosigns and Tangents. And if you listen to this in the morning, leave me some feedback. Tell me what I can do better. Anyway, thank you for listening to Cosigns and Tangents. Like, share, rate if you made it this far. Tell me what's your favorite scary movie. Anyway, love you. Bye.